I hope you're all well. Tomorrow is the start of the Big Plastic Count Week. This is the third year I think they've done it. They seem to do it every 2 years. So I'm all ready. I've printed out my counting sheet. So I like having it as a paper copy rather than doing the electronic one. I just find it easier. Plus I've kept my ones from past years. So at the end of the week we will do a bit of a summary, kind of reflections, as well as having a comparison of this year compared to the past years. Hopefully plastic should be going down each year, although this year my partner's not as, let's say, enthusiastic in relation to reducing plastic as me, so he'll obviously do some of his own food shopping, so I wouldn't be surprised if there might be a few extra or different categories perhaps from where my waste has been in past years. So we'll have a little look and reflect on all that together at the end of the week. So for now, I hope you're well, and then I will do a little bit of a kind of catch up each day as in relation to kind of how the count's going, what kind of plastic waste, or hopefully not much waste, that has come out of the household. So it is classed as a household count, not an individual one. And if I bring it out a bit, so they've got kind of split into kitchen waste, food and drink waste is the top section, and then the bottom section is kind of cleaning and others, or cleanings and toiletries. And then there's a couple of everything else categories. So if I'm not sure on something, I tend to pop it in one of those ones. Although there is a QR code as well on the sheets, where you can get like a list, and it gives you more examples. There's some examples for each category listed on here, but they do have a QR code, so you can obviously go and find out more. So hopefully this week will be a good count. And they do it so they can then send the results obviously to government, try and get them to make changes. And what's really nice is when you submit your count, they actually then do like a summary for you, for kind of calculating up over the year, kind of shows you where your percentage of waste comes from as well. So it's really insightful if you're looking to reduce your waste. So hopefully this will be a fun week, and I hope you stay and watch how I get on. Evening, so it is Monday evening. So I thought I'd share with you in relation to if there's any plastics that I used threw away today for the first day of the Big Plastic Count. I can actually say I've had no plastic today. I thought there might have been one thing that I knew I was close to using up, that I thought would end up in the bin today, but it hasn't. That will probably go in tomorrow. My partner hasn't used anything either, so today hopefully it will continue potentially in a similar fashion, that we've not got too much plastic going out. But I know there's a few things at least this week that probably will. You can see on the counting paperwork you've got the days across the top, so you can kind of tick them off as you do them. And then you've got your different categories. So that's the food and drink section, which is probably the biggest section. There's then cleaning and toiletries, and then kind of everything else, so kind of hard plastics and then soft plastics. So they do give examples for every category if you're not sure, and then obviously the little QR code at the bottom you can scan, and it will take you through for even more details. Within the food section, I think generally the ones I tend to have things in the past have been kind of snack packets, sometimes soft fruit containers if I've got like strawberries and berries and bits like that. So it'll be interesting to see what the mixes are. I think the very first year I did have some of the kind of, there we go, get it focus, some of the kind of food trays. I've got quite a bit batched in the freezer this week, so hopefully I'll be able to avoid some of those. I do think there will be, trying to look to see where it is. Possibly might have one that goes into this category. I'm just looking. I know he's got some cereal that he's almost used up, so I do tend to repurpose the cereal packets. It's something me and my mum do. Something Nancy does that all shares on social media. She actually cut them into strips to use for like prepping mince pies at Christmas. So she puts a little strips in the tart tin so they're easy to lift out, and then you can store them. But they can be used just for like general bags. So we kind of clip them closed with things either for the freezer or kind of just storing in the fridge short term. But they're two things I can definitely think of this week that will probably go. I've probably not planned to buy anything this week, kind of food wise or anything, so hopefully I won't generate anything kind of unplanned wise, but you never know. And trying to be good, we do have a sweet draw at work, so there's sometimes things like celebration heroes. It's kind of things we get from patients as thank yous, or people just bring in as a bit of a pick me up depending on the week. So obviously if I have any of those, it's not technically household, but I probably will count them because it'd be something I would be generating waste wise. So if I do any of those, I'll obviously add them when I get back at the end of the day. So that's been Monday, the first day. So I will check back in tomorrow with you, so on Tuesday, and we can see how we're getting on. See you then. So it's Tuesday evening, just finished making up a dough. I'm trying a no knead bread, which I'll bake off in the morning. So no wrappers, no plastic for any bread this week. I don't tend to buy bread anyway, but still on my bread journey. If you've been watching my sourdough one, it's not going well. I still need to actually restart my starter. One thing or another, I felt like getting it in the fridge until it was a bit more active with stuff. I didn't want to risk it, so I need to get back on that. So for today, Tuesday, we did have plastic. We had 3 pieces. So one was the one that I thought I might use up yesterday, which I have to say, packet biscuits. I know I'm a baker, but digestives is the one thing that I haven't found a good recipe for. I really like them. I found one in an old cookbook my mum has, so I might just try that out. So that was one of the kind of snack bags. The other one in that category was from like a pasta packet that my partner had. I wasn't really sure which one to put it in. That felt probably the more correct one to do. And then the other one was for a peelable film lid. He gets big bottles of milk from the shop. I get mine from the milkman in glass, but he feels like it goes off too early, so he likes to get his in bigger ones from the shop in plastic. So he obviously opened that today because he got it, so there's just a little film lid from that. So that is a roundup of Tuesday's plastic. I did go and get a little snack, treat myself to a snack before my Pilates classes. I ate my scone, my second scone, at lunchtime because I was really hungry, so I didn't keep it till just before I finished work and then go into Pilates. I went to the supermarket because I had some glass jars of stuff that I needed to pick up. Nothing, I could not find anything there, snack wise, not in plastic. So there's a Greggs nearby there, so I treated myself to one of their biscuits because it came in a paper bag. So
probably actually similar sort of price to a chocolate bar, to be fair. But yeah, I did do that to try and avoid plastic today, or more plastic today, I should say. So I will catch up with you tomorrow, Wednesday, for day 3, and we'll see what waste we get then.
Hey, I'm not going to face the camera today. I've got a bit of a cold, so I'm quite snotty, and my nose is quite red. So we're just going to have a look at the sheet. We had 2 bits of plastic today, so we're using up some bits in the freezer. It was a plastic tray, kind of, well, they were stuffing balls, but we used them for meatballs. So it's a tray, and then I obviously counted the kind of the lid covering of it. Probably not classed as a peelable film lid, but I thought that was the best description of it. Because obviously I wash up, let the base tray dry, because that can be recyclable. Obviously the film cover couldn't be, so I split them into that. So on Thursday, so we're day 4, so we can tick that off. Ooh, get the pen to work. So we've done 4 days, and so far the count is 5 bits of plastic, and we actually haven't got anything down at the bottom bits yet. So it is now Friday, so day 5 of the big plastic count, and today has been the biggest day for plastic. Couple of reasons. Treated yourself to Chinese. So my local Chinese uses plastic containers. So we've got one for chow mein and one for a sauce. The one with the chow mein came in, I do reuse that, but I will count that on the plastic count. They give out fortune cookies even when you don't ask. So I've counted that as like a snack bag packet. Couple of carrier bags. Partner gets carrier bags. So he'd been to the shop for some bits, and then obviously Chinese, so there's 2 plastic carrier bags. Other one is, or 2 other things. I didn't realise these were not recyclable. They feel like paper. I've been recycling them. Treated myself to a hot chocolate tonight. Favourite flavour, please bring back. But I always assumed they were recyclable as paper. But apparently on the back, they say, do not recycle, which I've only just realised. So I've included that on the count. And actually I need to add another one of those, because I had one a couple of days ago. So I'll add that on as well. So failed on a couple of days ago. And then the final thing for today is changing around through my razor heads. So I do use FFS as like a subscription. So they do take the blades back to be recycled. So you can send back the little kind of cases, cartridges that hold like the set of 4, and send those back. So I'll be swapping round, so it'll be a pack of 4. But I'll probably just class that as 1, maybe. But obviously the count is for both kind of recyclable plastic as well as non-recyclable plastic so they can kind of see where the mix is. So I will show you what the numbers look like on the grid so far after today. So first things first, let me add on that extra packet for my hot chocolate I had the other day. I'm trying to think, what had I put that down as? So that was, I think I put it in the snack pack because of chocolates. Or did I put it as other? I'm trying to think what the other is if I did that. Should have maybe filmed as I was doing it and then I would work out. I think I'm going to put it as other because it's like maybe like a mixed one. It looks like maybe line, so I'm going to put it there. I'll put it in other. So far the count looks like 2 peelable film lids, 2 pots, tubs and trays, 3 in the snack bags, packets and wraps, 2 for other soft bags, kind of hot chocolate, so that could technically be the wrong category, 1 for the razors, and then the 2 carrier bags. I do reuse carrier bags as like bin liners, so I slightly repurposed, but they obviously do eventually go into the bin. So what does that make the count so far? 2, 3, 5, 8, 10. So we're on 12 so far, and we've still got 2 days left. So we're on Friday. So we will see what the weekend brings.
So it is the end of the Big Plastic Count week. So it is Sunday. I didn't do a kind of recap yesterday. I was kind of back at the parents' Mother's Day, so that's this weekend. But I did add on a couple in the morning before I went. So I'd ended up using up a body scrub tub, one of the kind of Lush ones. So even though I'm going to recycle it with them, counted that on the tally Saturday, even though I used up Friday. I've got a new phone this weekend, so I've ended up with probably about 4 bits of plastic just from that, either from the phone packaging itself or, it's quite minimal now actually, just almost this bit protecting the screen. But I bought screen protectors, so that had a soft plastic outer, and then the applying kind of kit and the screen itself cover was another bit of plastic. So that is tallied up a lot. I potentially didn't know if I was going to set up my phone this weekend, but I kind of got forced to. I had a bit of disaster with my old phone and dropped it down the toilet twice in one day, and now it won't turn on. So this is me now recording on my new phone. So if you see a difference in quality, style, that's possibly why. So let's have a little switch around and look at the final count for the week. Here it is. Something else that I also added on for today was my partner used up the milk. Even though I buy my milk and juice through the milkman, so they come in glass and I can make use of the fact they come and collect it, he buys big quantities in bottles most of the time. So I've also got a bottle there and a hard cap from that as well. So food wise is probably where most of it was, and then sadly I kind of did my packaging from the phone, ended up being a lot down here because I wasn't quite sure where to put it as well. So I think, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, 12 from food, just 2 in toiletries. So I did finish 2 other things, but they are refillables, compostable inserts, so I'll chat through more about those in the recap and reflection. And then I ended up with 7 in the other bits. So what was that? 12, 14 will do 18, so 21 pieces in total for the week. So what I'll do is probably over the next coming days I'll record my reflections, and then we can
see how this compares to my future years that I've done it as well.
So this is going to be my kind of roundup reflections, thoughts on the big plastic count this year. This year, so 2026, it ran from the 9th to the 15th of March, and in total for a 2-person household I had 21 pieces of plastic this year. So kind of where the split is in relation to food and then toiletry and cleaning, probably similar to past years. This year, which I haven't in other years, I have had stuff in the everything else 2 categories, which is probably what's bumped up my score this year. I got a new phone, so I ended up having plastic packaging rubbish as a result of that. That is not a every week occurrence, but I had obviously my screen protector I got for it, which had plastic all around the box, on the inside, the things you were using. There was obviously then the plastic covering over the phone and bits like that. So probably the majority of those came from my phone. There was also 2 carrier bags this year that I don't get. One with a Chinese as a treat that automatically gets packaged in a bag, even if you take your own. And then my partner always gets a plastic bag when he goes to the corner shop for milk and bits like that. So again, they're things that I haven't had in past years. When it comes to cleaning and toiletries, there was 2 things this year. So one were my razor blades. So I get them on a subscription. They're like a little set of 4. So I technically used the last one and put the 4th one back in. So I only counted that as 1. Could maybe say that should be more, but I counted it as a pack. As it's a subscription, I can send them back, they get recycled, but I'm still counting it. And then the other one was a tub, one of the Lush body scrub tubs that I had as a Christmas present, so use that up. Again, they have a recycling scheme, so we'll be taking that back, but they still need to be counted. And then food. So similar to past years, snack packets and wrappers was my highest one. Did have 3 in pots and tubs, probably because of the takeaway. Our local takeaway, everything comes in plastic containers. I do the rectangle ones, repurpose those. The little sweet sour sauce one, they're quite small, haven't repurposed that, so that did go into recycling. But again, takeaway, maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months. So they're here and there with those. Chinese near my parents, they use foil trays for most of their stuff, so there we can wash them up, recycle them, which is a little bit frustrating. My partner as well, he likes lots of tea, so he has lots of milk, and as a result he likes to buy the big bottles, plastic bottles from the shop. So we had a bottle and a cap from that. I order my oat milk and my juice through the milkman. Comes in glass bottles, circular system, so once finished, put them out, next delivery they take them back to be reused. And then obviously foil caps I keep, recycle when I've got a big enough to make a good sized ball. So that predominantly maybe is similar-ish with categories, and then a few extra because this year it was a 2-person household I was counting for. Let's go back to the first year now, and we can see how I've kind of progressed and done over the years. So the first count was in 2022. That year they did have a big kind of sheet with examples for each of the categories for counting to help people. It's now an online attachment you can do with the QR codes. At this stage, so 2022, I'd probably started my refilling, reducing waste journey sometime in 2019. I don't want to say it was right at the start of the year, might have been towards the start of the year. So I'd had, 4 years starting to shop at refill shops. I've been using my containers at the butchers as well. After COVID, I'd asked if I was able to use those. So I would say I had started to have fairly good shopping habits when I could, when time and bits allowed. Obviously with work patterns, if I work Saturday, I can't get to the refill shop, bits like that, so sometimes I would have some plastic. So in 2022, I had 22 pieces of plastic, and this was a single person household. So everything else, I didn't have anything in that category. So that kind of hard plastic packaging and the soft plastic packaging, so like carrier bags. Cleaning and toiletries, I had just one thing. That was in the soft cleaning toiletries packets. I would have guessed that was probably going to be packaging around toilet rolls. Didn't have anything else. And then in food and drink, I had 14, 16, 21. Should be able to easily do that. So 21 pieces of plastic. So that year, actually my highest one was other soft food and drinking packaging. So that included things like bread bags, rice packets, frozen fruit, peas, veg, potatoes, anything kind of like plasticky bags from the freezers, cling film and cheese. So I had 8 pieces in there. Can I remember what they probably were? Not really. I would maybe have guessed rice, possibly could have been some rice packets and some freezer bits, or cheese wrappers. I have got a cheese stall in the local market that I can take containers to, and they have let me use. Again, work-wise, I don't get that there that often. There might have been some bread, or again, that could have been things like if I'd bought sausage rolls, I probably would have classed the plastic outer of that as maybe the soft stuff. Other things was then hard plastic caps, lids, so like bottles, cartons, plastic jars, and then snack bags, packets and wrappers was 4. So they were like my 3 big ones in 2022. So the count is roughly every 2 years. So the second year was 2024. Again, this was a single person household when I was counting, and that year I had just 8 pieces, so I'd almost reduced it by a third in 2 years, which really good. Obviously again, reflects on week if I've shopped and stocked up and bits like that and what I throw away. Start with everything else. Again, had nothing that year. Toiletries was exactly the same, which was the soft packaging. Again, I probably would guess that it is toilet roll wrapper. And then that then means I had 7 pieces in the food category. So again, I'd reduced down to the other soft food and drink packaging. I had 1 thing that year, so I did good reduction on that. Snack packets and wrappers had 3. And then I had a large bottle, so that could have been like a cooking oil bottle, or could have been a golden syrup, depending on what I'm thinking, what I cook with. I sometimes get that if I can't get the tins, which is what I would normally prefer. Peelable film lids, 1 pot, tub and tray. So that was a really good year. It will vary week to week, but I was really happy with that in 2024. Obviously, 2 years later, 2-person household, we'd almost gone back up to the original. So that does reflect practices, it does reflect a purchase that probably for me, the phone's every 4 or 5 years. So that, although frustrating, I know it's not an everyday occurrence, and there probably is a lot less packaging actually with the phone itself compared to years gone by. It was literally just this bit protecting the screen on the actual phone. It's more the other screen protector bits that probably brought most of the plastic in. I have ordered a new phone case. I'm staying away from plastic with that. Hasn't yet arrived, but I have gone with a peeler case. So they're a Canadian brand and they're compostable phone cases / accessories. I'd been thinking and looking at them for a few years, but because I knew at some point I would be upgrading my phone, I slightly didn't see the point in getting one if I was then going to end up getting a new phone in like 6 months, because I didn't quite know when I was going to end up swapping my phone. And they are just compostable, so you can put them in the garden once they're done, so they don't need any fancy composting from people that I've spoken to, and they do have different designs and obviously cover different phone styles, brands, makes, whatever you want to call them. So I'm looking forward to when that arrives. So some other kind of thoughts just in general in relation to how I can further help to reduce these, or practices that I've done to help reduce certain things. I am baking a lot more from scratch. So for lunches, I'm making scones, rolls, I make my own sausage roll sometimes. So I am trying to not either buy stuff to make it cheaper or not have to buy pre-made stuff at the shops. Crisps every so often I will treat myself to, or like a meal deal from the local department store. You get crisps in that laser packet. I do keep them and put them into obviously recycling at the supermarkets that collect them. I also do purchase sometimes 2 Farmers crisps, which are in compostable packets. In the past I have got crisps at the refill shop, so they're ones that you put either into a bag, your own container, and then they have different seasonings that you can add on depending on what you'd like. I tend to go with salt and vinegar, but they would have like cheese and onion, prawns, those different options. I don't think I've noticed them as much / I guess storage wise for those, it just felt a bit bulky, which might be why I've maybe not leaned into that side as much. I also try to make my kind of sweet treat or snacks as well. So energy balls, snack bars, granola bars, cookies or slices of cake. I do obviously bake from scratch, so that helps reduce down. Generally fruit I take bananas, so again no packaging. I have a food bin at work so I can put that in. I do tend to take cucumber, slices of cucumber to work. Luckily this year, both the food hall and actually the farm shop this week when I went, they're not in plastic packaging, so they're just, I'd say naked cucumbers, but plastic free or packaging free cucumbers at the moment. That will be a seasonal thing. Even just shopping at the farm shop, I know at certain points in the year they will have cucumbers wrapped in plastic as you would find at the supermarket. So that is a seasonal thing, but it's something that I guess it's an easy way for me to get some fruit and veg into me in my lunches, so I still tend to pick that up. Moving on and thinking about toiletries and cleanings, I don't think any of the weeks that I've done I've used up any cleaning products. I do have some still in plastic. I still have probably quite a lot in plastic, but I'm using them up, and then making choices when I then need to swap to things. So I can either have a go at making my own. I use Ocean Saver, it's my full floor cleaner, and they have a variety of different types as well for like toilets, bathroom, kitchen, all purpose. And they're literally little cardboard boxes that have a sachet in it, which is dissolvable, so you put the whole sachet into bottle container that you're using. You add the water itself, because that is a lot of what kind of you're transporting with certain products is the water content. So you add the water, it completely dissolves the sachet and obviously the concentrate on the inside to then have your product. So I do like those. And then I've also started to use, probably the last 18 months, 12 months maybe, Delphis, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, Delphis. So they're an eco-friendly cleaning brand that use kind of recycled plastic within their packaging. So I've got a hob cleaner and like a degreaser cleaner for the kitchen and that, which I really like. I don't tend to use paper towels, bits like that. I have my unpaper towels or cleaning cloths that I use. I have a bag that I just pop them in and then put them all in the wash to clean them all in one go. So that side, I do feel like I've got good habits, or I know where I'll be moving to as I use things up. Toiletry wise, I did actually this week run out of my deodorant, but I use Wild, so I just switched around the cartridge. They're compostable, so I don't have any plastic from that. I've probably been using them since about 2020. I know people have got views on them currently in relation to being who they sold to and are they greenwashing, bits like that. I probably don't know enough to discuss that. All I know is it's a way that I can help reduce my plastic consumption when it comes to deodorants. They work for me. I know there are other brands that my sister's swapped to, and people have used their cartridges in their like Wild deodorant case as a way of not having that. It's rubbish. So that could always be something I tried if I do learn more and want to swap. I also have that shower gel, so I ran out of one of those during the week. So again, compostable bottle, just swap in and out, which is really nice. I do have other refillable options when it comes to things like hand wash, shampoo, body wash. So I've got some aluminium bottles, so one for shampoo, one for shower gel, hand wash or additional shower gel and bits like that. I do just repurpose plastic bottles. I've seen some that, again, when I feel like the current ones I'm using have run their lifespan, I have options of aluminium ones that I want to swap over to eventually for those as well. And so beauty products, skincare, probably branch that as skincare. I use predominantly a brand that is B Corp, so from that point of view they are doing good things for people and the planet. Probably their products are 50-50 at the moment. I've got ones which are in glass, either bottles or tubs, but the lid is in plastic, or it's a pump. Do I wish, especially with the bottles, that you could buy just the bottle with like a aluminium bottle or bottle top, and then you just switch the pump across. That could be a really useful thing. Hopefully they might consider that in the future. But obviously at the moment it's the pump each time that goes to waste when I end up using a product. And then things like my toner and skincare facial wash within the range, they are in plastic bottles. They do last me really well. They almost last me probably a good 9-10 months. So in comparison, it's not something that I'm using every couple of months and needing to throw out. But again, do I wish there were refillable options for those? Possibly. I have tried different brands in the past, so I've tried like moisturisers or night creams from companies like, is it Upcircle, that uses coffee grounds. They have a scheme where you can return the pot and then you get a discount on your next one, because they then repurpose and put it in back into circulation those pots. There's a kind of small business that does lots of plastic free kind of eco products, who do refill sachets of things like Upcycle and other beauty products that they sell, and the sachets that they send are compostable, so you'd empty it into your container and then you've got a compostable packet. So there are things that I probably could look into, but probably like with everyone else, if you find something that you feel works for you skin wise, it can sometimes be unsettling or when you try something new, if it doesn't work, you potentially end up going back to what you know. So there is options there I can move on and consider. Hand cream, again, I have got ones that I'm working through, but brands that I use for shower gel, shampoo, they do like a hand and body lotion, which I can get from Refill Shop. So again, I do have options there if I want to. Probably the category or the product that I predominantly had in there for 2 of the years was obviously toilet paper. I do put that into the recycling supermarkets. How much they actually get recycled and what happens to them, it is probably what it is and isn't. Probably not as much gets recycled in the way that we think it probably does realistically, but it feels like I'm at least trying to use schemes that are available to me. Something I have been considering for a couple of years, probably maybe from this, is switching to Who Gives a Crap, I think what it's called then. And there are some other brands as well that do toilet roll that comes in paper or cardboard boxes packaging. I've had some of the Who Gives a Crap like individual rolls as stocking fillers over the years, and they come in really fun like paper packaging that you could repurpose into wrapping paper. You can buy them in bulk, which is what I've been considering. So you can buy big boxes of about 48 rolls. I think what puts me off is the outlay initially, that it seems a lot. But probably actually what I spend over a year, it might equate to similar numbers. So it might be something I would try. It's also something I've considered doing as a bit of a split with like my mum and my sister. So we buy a big box between us, we half the price, or pay half each, and then we get half the rolls. So there are ways around that I could look for that too, but that's possibly the other area within the bathroom that I could easily make a swap with. So that has been my thoughts on my results from the big plastic count, both this year and in past years in comparison. When you do submit, they do give you a summary that goes through kind of how much plastic you'd have in a year, what percentage falls into different categories, and what happens with that plastic waste. So is it recycled, is it incinerated, is it sent abroad? So it helps give you a picture if you want to then make changes, if that is surprising to you. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you have taken part either in past years or this year, feel free to let me know in the comments what your count was. Was it surprising to you? Are you looking to make changes as a result? If you want kind of insight, help or inspiration from a kitchen and food point of view, you can check out my blog. I've also got lots of baking recipes on there where I go through as well how you can kind of shop more consciously for ingredients. I then also have resources around kitchen, shopping, plastic free, food wise, like my favourite ways to cover food or reduce plastic in the kitchen. If you want any videos talking with me running through some of those, please feel free again, let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to think about making some of those. And then hopefully, if we do the count in another 2 years' time, we will be down a lot lower, maybe closer to my second year completion rate on those. I'll see you in the next video.